Welcome everyone. This is Yvonne Davis and David Steele of the Rocky Mountain Compassionate Communication Network. And you are joining us for Unleash Your Creativity, a combination of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron and Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. And we are still in week 6, which is recovering a sense of abundance. And today I'm going to share with you some interesting experiences and insights that I had. So it started out with an experience of contacting someone. I sent a text message in the evening around 7:30, and then I sent an email around 8:40, so about an hour or so later. And the main reason why I sent the email was because I wanted to make sure that I had communicated them maybe the deeper essence of what I was maybe requesting, which was connection. And so I still haven't heard from them, and it's been like 24 hours at least. So I was feeling some frustration around that, and this is a person who normally gets in touch with me, so the behavior seems unusual. But anyway, I didn't really know what to do with that, so I was just kind of pondering it. And then in the evening, which is this evening, basically, well, I should say in the morning, I got an email from someone else, and they wrote kind of a long email and were requesting something of me, I think. And but when I read the email, I felt overwhelmed, and I thought, why are they making a big deal out of this? It just seems like manufactured drama, and I don't, I just didn't want to deal with it because it made no sense to me, and I felt overwhelmed. So I just clicked out of the email. And this evening, as I was thinking about this person that I had texted and emailed last night and still hadn't heard from them 24 hours later, and I was feeling frustration, like, what is that about? Suddenly it dawned on me that I had done the same thing to this other person who emailed me in the morning. And, it's just like a big eye-opener to really, because basically what I realized is I was only looking at it from my point of view. Like, why hasn't this person gotten back in touch with me? Why are they avoiding me or ignoring me or whatever the story was I had in my head? And I hadn't even realized I had done exactly the same thing to this other person without even realizing, because in my mind, the stuff that they were bringing up in their email was irrelevant. I didn't understand. I didn't see the importance of it. So I just, closed out the email and forgot about it. And it had really just completely escaped my consciousness. I didn't think about it again after I closed out the email. It's like it didn't exist. Then I realized that, that's probably how this other person is feeling who hasn't responded to me, that whatever I was asking of them didn't feel important to them. And they probably just, like, if they read the email or if they saw the text, they thought, oh, I'll get back to them whenever, like when it's important to me. It's not that important. I don't see them. Like, it's not like they thought to themselves, I better ignore Yvonne because I don't want to talk to her about this. Probably just didn't think about it at all. It's just like not that important, so we can get back. And so I was able to feel empathy because I realized that what was going on inside of them was probably identical to what was going on in me when I read this other person's email and didn't think it was that important. So, and yet that person was probably stewing, wondering, why hasn't she gotten back to me? So that was kind of interesting. But also, I realized that I was having a hard time communicating with both of these people. With the first one, to really, get some clarity and some communication about how the connection was important to me. What I was asking was important to me. and getting response was important to me. Wanting to communicate with them about that, but not at the same time not wanting to be overburdening, like demanding. So I'm just kind of sitting with that at the moment. And then the other person, I realized I just wanted to avoid them. I was going to come up with some white lie about why I couldn't get back to them. But fortunately, when I got in touch with my feelings and needs and felt empathy for both of these people, and talked about my frustration with David, actually, then I was able to respond to the second person in a more honest and authentic way. And I was able to do it in a way that didn't discount what was important to them. So that felt really good. After I sent that email in response to them, that felt really good. Like I felt at peace with myself. Like I had responded very authentically and also in a way that was very respectful. So I was happy. I felt really good about that. So I guess the thing is I know there's some other things we want to, like this ties into some other things that we'll get to, but I think I want to check in with you because you're always wanting to bring it back to the topic of the week. So how does this connect to abundance?
Well, there is no shortage of viewpoints on the planet. There's at least 7.5 billion different perspectives. And they don't necessarily coalesce or even cooperate. And I would say it's safe to say that most of those perspectives don't even take into consideration that there is a different perspective from the one they're in. So that's something else that we share abundance of. And so we're all kind of like groping around in the blindly groping around together, somehow making life work.
Yeah. So, and I think also that when we have an internal sense of abundance, it's easier to be grounded and authentic in ourselves. Like I had more clarity around my feelings, certainly related to the one that I ended up responding to. I had more clarity around my feelings about and my needs about what they were requesting of me. So when I was grounded in the truth of my feelings and needs, not discounting their feelings and needs and their perspective, but truly grounded in my own, then I was able to respond. So I think that's abundance. Being grounded in your own sense of feelings and needs gives you a sense of abundance.
I believe that, when you're in a space of abundance, if you are imbued with a spirit of abundance, it is way easier to let go of outcome. Because if you're in lack, the outcome, you really focus on the outcome has to be this, because there are other ways just won't work. It has to be like this. Whereas when we're a spirit of abundance, we can just kind of lay back and be curious about how is this going to show up? How is this going to manifest?
Yes. So, learning to connect with your feelings and needs, get really grounded in your feelings and needs. It does fill you with a sense of abundance. And it's so much easier to interact with other people and with the world and with situations when you come from that sense of abundance.
Yes.
So there was another piece to this story which had to do with a realization that sometimes I have a perspective in my mind that other people know what they're doing and I don't.
Before you jump into that, I just want to point out one other thing. So with that second email that you were thinking about coming up with a white lie and wondering about how to respond to it, when you were able to respond authentically, and not have that pressure of what kind of image am I going to project. I think that's another entry into abundance, because creating and projecting and maintaining that image and then feeling guilty about maybe I didn't do it right, or takes a lot more energy than just kind of, just kind of connecting with the self and then moving on.
Yeah, that's a good point. I always remember this. It was this episode of The Jetsons, and I don't know if I could find it on YouTube, but I might try to find it. It was so funny. So in The Jetsons, they had you could talk like we can talk now, like Skype and Zoom and video conferencing and so on and so forth. So in The Jetsons, they had that where you would talk to someone on the phone, but you'd be looking at them on a video screen. And so Mrs. Jetson, because it was early in the morning, she hadn't taken her shower or done her makeup or her hair. Oh, her name was June? Okay. She hadn't taken a shower or done her makeup or anything.
Or it was Jane.
Oh, maybe it was Jane. Anyway,
but I think it was June.
I'll figure it out. But anyway, so the call came in the morning, and she hadn't showered or done her makeup or anything. So she put on a mask, and then she got on the call, on the video call, and she was talking and talking and talking, and then her mask popped off, and she was like really tired, like, and her, she had bags on her eyes, and her hair was sticking out all over the place. A little bit of drool come down.
Well, I won't do the drool. I don't like it.
But I always remember that show. I thought that was the funniest episode I remember of The Jetsons. And but that's what life is like, it's like one of these days your mask is going to pop off and people are going to see who you really are. So it's probably better if you just go as your real self without the mask. So anyway, it saves a lot of time and effort. Okay, so we ready to switch to the other realization?
Yes. It's not a fakeization, it's a realization.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I had this realization today that sometimes I think other people know what they're doing, and I'm the only one who doesn't know what I'm doing. So as an example, like I know someone who I've always been impressed with. I just think she is so put together. She's successful. She just looks good all the time. She's compassionate. She's wealthy. She has good relationships. I mean, just all the things that and she has so many projects going. I mean, she's just such an incredibly together and successful person, someone that I look up to and would love to emulate. And so, so I think, she must always know what she's doing, because how could she be so successful if she doesn't know what she's doing, And so, but it's like I have experiences like this all the time. It's not just when someone like is startlingly successful and put together. I mean, I think this about so many people that I meet. I meet them and I think, wow, they've really got their act together. I wish I were like them. They clearly know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Damn, I wish I was like them. And then, like, as time goes by and I get to know them better and better, I find out, like, oh, they have insecurities too. Like, sometimes, like, I find out, wow, they're really insecure and they really doubt themselves a lot. And they really, like, try to do everything perfectly because they're so afraid of making a mistake. And I think, here I am thinking that they're so confident and that they know what they're doing, and I'm the one who's insecure and doesn't know what I'm doing. And then I suddenly realized, wait a minute, they're just as scared as I am. They're just as insecure as I am. They doubt themselves just as much as I doubt myself. And the reason why this was so illuminating for me and empowering for me was because I realized that I actually do know what I'm doing a lot of the time. You know, I'm actually a very courageous person. And even when I don't know what I'm doing, I have the courage to at least move into a space of trying. I will at least attempt and do the best I can and see what unfolds, you know. And I may make a mistake, but I think ultimately there, you know, if we could change our language, if we could change the way we think about things, there would be no such thing as mistakes or failure. You know, Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, some of the greatest inventors in the world, probably Benjamin Franklin as well. Certainly Henry Ford, I think he was the one who said, it was either him or Thomas Edison who said, failure is an opportunity to begin again more intelligently.
So that was Henry Ford.
Henry Ford, yeah. So
who declared bankruptcy 7 times.
Yeah. So I guess the point is that, you know, a lot of it's just our language. It's just simply the way we think about things. If we didn't have the words like mistake or failure or screw up or anything like that, we would understand that it's perfectly natural. Like, for example, children, when they're born, all they can do is kind of lie on their stomach or lie on their back, and they have very little mobility. And then eventually they learn how to sit up, and then eventually they learn how to like grab hold of some furniture and hold themselves up so they can start to stand, and they're a little bit wobbly on their legs, but they're holding themselves up. And pretty soon they learn to walk from one thing to another thing, like at a short distance, and then pretty soon they learn longer and longer. But they fall down so many times before they really learn how to walk on their own, before they really learn how to run and do all the other amazing things that humans can do. They fall down so many times. And yet when we get older, like, we have no problem watching a little, you know, a child, a toddler, learning how to walk, falling down, picking himself up, doing it again, falling down. We have no problem with that. We don't think, what a loser. God, that kid can't walk for anything, you know? Look at how many times he fell down. What a loser. But we say that, so we talk that way to ourselves, you know? And even if we don't use such harsh language, even if we don't, you know, call ourselves losers, we do tell ourselves, oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I screwed up. Oh, I failed. And, you know, it's like, why have we concluded, why have we made the judgment that it's a failure as opposed to an opportunity to begin again more intelligently? So it's just simply the language and the way that we look at it. And really, in the end, it makes no sense, because we're depriving ourselves of our abundance when we do that to ourselves.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Couldn't put it better myself. So I'm not going to try. That's what she said.
Okay. Do you want to add anything?
Yes. So when you get in that state of abundance, not only can you let go of outcome more easily, you become less fearful of other people and their reactions, because we tend to, when we don't perceive things as mistakes or people as broken, and we start to perceive them as learners and journeyers, then it's a lot easier to be authentic, because we don't feel compelled to make them be a certain way or us to be a certain way to work with them. So when you were talking about the mask and June Jetson wearing the mask, the thing about the mask is, not only do we wear a mask, but when you were talking about thinking other people had it together and you are the only one that don't, you're still looking at a mask. It's not a mask they put on, it's a mask you put on them.
Right.
But it's still a mask.
Exactly.
Plenty of money to be made in the mask business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's called advertising.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's all kinds of ways you can make money in the mask business, not just advertising.
That's right. Yeah, in fact, let's see. Masking tape. See, now I don't look like me. Sometimes I'm stupidly silly. Thank you for not kicking me out for doing that.
All right. So are we done for today?
Done and done in. Okay. If I don't come back tomorrow, you know what happened. That tape was the last act I ever took.
Well, so far I have continued to forgive David for his silliness for the past 11 years, so you'll probably survive. All righty, so we're going to bring this to a close. So thank you so much for joining us. We love having you with us. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe and click like on this video, ring the bell for notifications, share on your social media and with your friends and family, and put your comments in the boxes below because we love to hear what you have to say. And we're really trying to build a community here. So that is it for today, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.